Hi everybody, this is a review for Alex Rider Nightshade. It is the 12th book in the Alex Rider series, and this is a really long book. It's about 400 pages. It's 410 pages to be specific, but I feel like it could have been 400 pages because every part starts with a blank page and then a 2-page illustration. They could have gotten rid of those and had it exactly 400 pages, and it would have been cool if it was exactly 400 pages. I know that's a nerdy thing to get excited for, but I kind of wish that had happened. Well, this is a really good book. I give it like a 9 out of 10. It's very long and exciting. It really just sucks you in. This author's really good at having exciting, dramatic works. Sort of like a mystery where all these minor pieces come together in a very satisfying way. It doesn't really feel like it's a 400-page book. It felt like it easily could have been a 500-page book. I kind of wish it had kept going. That's how engrossing it is. So, the first part is probably the weakest part because Alex isn't in it. It's similar to one of the other Alex Rider books, where the first 100 pages is basically the bad guys setting up their evil plan, and not so much focusing on Alex. So the evil plan is they kill a top secret government agent. One of the bad guy agents is kidnapped in Rio de Janeiro, where they kill somebody else. In fact, the agent kills lots of people in an attempt to escape. So, I don't really want to give too many spoilers, but basically Nightshade is this organization. We learn this in part 3 when Alex finally meets up with Nightshade. But it's an evil organization. They've basically kidnapped a bunch of children and brainwashed them for 10, 12 years. So they kidnap kids when they're 4 or 5 and basically subject them to brainwashing, which includes like a radio inside their head, which is constantly spewing stuff. And they've basically trained these kids to be thoughtless, soulless murder machines that will do any job they need. And they've been hired to kill pretty much all of the British government. So what they did was they killed this famous British politician. That way everybody will be at the funeral, and then they're just going to drop this deadly nerve agent during the funeral, killing everyone there. So that's their evil plan. Like I said, Alex doesn't really figure this out until 350 pages into the book, because he gets on the Nightshade Island and learns about their evil training facility, and that was really interesting too, seeing that play out. It's also interesting seeing him interact with these kids who are brainwashed. They don't use names, they only use numbers. That's one of the ways they're brainwashed. But 2 of the kids are Miss Jones's kids. You know, she's the leader of the British spies. Her children were kidnapped when they were young, and her husband double-crossed her. It was a really dramatic story. She tells this dramatic story. That's what convinces Alex to get involved with this mystery mission, because you know him. He's usually a reluctant spy. He's not as reluctant as he was at the very start of the series, but he's still pretty reluctant. He doesn't join until he hears Miss Jones's sob story. Oh, also in part 1, it sets up drama, which you could argue was recycled from a previous book. So in a previous book, the Prime Minister got mad with Director Blunt because he doesn't like the idea of Alex Rider being a spy, and he tried to shut down the department. Well, this book has basically the exact same thing. We have an undersecretary somewhere who wants to shut down MI6 because he hates how they keep using Alex. He orders Miss Jones not to use Alex again, and she uses Alex for this mission, obviously. So when the secretary finds out about it, shuts down MI6 completely. Now Alex is just out in the field with no support whatsoever. So, I'm jumping all over the place here. Part 2 of the book is really interesting. So Alex goes undercover as Julius Grief. So remember how Julius Grief broke out of this very dangerous prison in Gibraltar? Well, Alex is sent there, and he's sent as Freddy's cellmate. So he's the cellmate of the Nightshade agent that they captured. And he has to try to survive the jail because half the people there want to kill him. One of the people there had an escape plan with Julius that Alex knows absolutely nothing about. Lots of conversations like that where he has no idea what they're talking about, and he's worried they'll realize he's not actually Julius Grief. And there's there's a mistake where the psychiatrist lady calls Alex by his real name in front of other people, but nobody picks up on that. So I feel like that was just a typo, but still, it's like, Alex is going undercover as Julius, don't use his real name. And Alex is forced to befriend Freddy, and together the two of them escape and make it back to Nightshade. It's very exciting, but I would point out that this is similar to a book by the same author. The book is called Public Enemy Number 2. I think I'm right. One of the Diamond Brothers books, where the main character has to go to jail and pretend to be a criminal. Why? Because they need him to befriend a master criminal. He ends up making friends with the master criminal and escaping from jail, and then all sorts of stuff happens there. So that's basically part 2 of this book. It's a lot longer in this book because this is a lot longer book. It's very exciting and interesting and suspenseful. The 100 pages of Alex pretending to be Julius. And like I said, is very exciting when he was at Nightshade. I think my favorite part is probably part 4, because Alex's friends Jack and Tom get involved, and it's just hilarious. It's great. I love the two of them. I wish they showed up more in this series, and this is just a prime example. It's just so great to have Alex deal with them. He doesn't have a choice because MI6 got shut down. So here's a weird thing. The villains in these series, they tend to make really colossally stupid decisions whenever Alex Rider is involved. So they do that here. So there's 4 people that are in charge of Nightshade. They're the ones that are brainwashing all these kids and setting them up for this operation, making them the ultimate killing machines and so on. So Alex breaks into their headquarters. That was really cool. He breaks into their headquarters, kind of figures out their plan, but it's still a mystery. Even though he hears them talking and he sees their diagrams, he doesn't quite figure everything out until the final part of the book. And I did like that. I feel like that's more realistic than other books where Alex just happens to sneak around and he hides underneath a desk right when the villains are explaining every facet of their evil plan. I believe that happened in Crocodile Tears. Yeah. So it's more realistic, where Alex only gets bits and pieces of the plan and tries to put them together as a puzzle. I imagine some people who are exceptionally clever were able to figure out the plan ahead of time, but I was not. It was a surprise to me. Anyway, the bad guys realize Alex is Alex Rider, super spy, and so what they decide to do is send him to England on the same day they're going to attack England, and they give him like a 5-hour head start. So they put him on a beach, which is about 2 hours away from London, and that's that's just a terrible mistake on the part of the bad guys. They sent Alex right where he would be able to stop them. Okay, yeah, they sent him 2 hours away, but they gave him a 5-hour head start, so Alex has enough time to basically get through various police barriers and make it all the way to London and defeat them in time. So what they should have done is shoot Alex right away. Just kill him right away. Or, if they want to send him as a distraction, don't send him in the exact same spot as your evil scheme. I don't know. So just dumb idea, because they had him in Greece. They purposely moved him to England on the day of their attack on England. You get the point I'm making. They should not have... They basically set themselves up for failure by sending the world's greatest spy to England 5 hours before their English terrorist attack. So we're probably getting a sequel, because the end of the book basically promises that Nightshade is going to attack Alex again. Nightshade is coming after him. They've still got about 20 agents, including Miss Tulip's son, Freddy, and Miss Tulip's daughter, and I think a third person of Nightshade, I forget who it was, third one. They're okay, they're in relative safety, although, they have been brainwashed, so it's going to be hard for them to readjust to society and meet the parents who thought they were dead and such. Okay, but I'm getting up on 10 minutes, so I'm going to finish my review here. Thank you very much for watching. I give this book like a 9 out of 10. I thought it was extremely good. excellent. I mean, it's a really long book, but it's so good that you don't even notice how long it is, and you actually wish it was longer. And, you know, it did recycle some ideas from other books, like MI6 is being shut down because somebody higher up in the government doesn't like them. And, you know, our hero has to pose as a criminal in jail to befriend another criminal, and they break out of jail together, which was from Public Enemy #2. And this book actually uses the phrase Public Enemy #1. I feel like that was the author kind of acknowledging the fact that, hey, yeah, I'm kind of reusing this idea, but it goes different places in the two books, and it's okay. So, good book. Glad I read it. Can't wait for the sequel. You know, I would definitely read the sequel when it comes out. This book was published in 2020, right? So, that's when the coronavirus pandemic happened, and lots of things got delayed. So I would not be surprised if the planned sequel to this book was one of those things that got delayed because of the pandemic. Yeah. Okay, bye.